Hi everybody, it's Rebecca Gabriel here and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Living with Spice. I'm here to do your weekly card reading for the 4th of November through to about the 11th or 12th of November. I do hope everybody is doing very well. I cannot believe we are into November already with Christmas not too far away. Before we get started, I just wanted to remind you, for those who haven't been following me, that I have recently published my book, The Power of Soul Loving, which we have here. Now this book is for anybody who's really interested in going a little bit deeper into their life. They recognise that they've been experiencing some significant change. We often don't get a way to navigate through those challenges in our life, and it can be really tough sometimes. But how do we do it? How do we know how to get through those most difficult times in our life? To find out a little bit more about where we're headed, who we are, to answer those very personal questions that can torment us when we feel like we're going around the mountain. We don't have the answers as to how to hit the mark, that special sweet spot we feel that we are moving towards in our life, when we feel like we're not achieving our purpose or things aren't coming together in our life. We struggle to know how to do that, how to find the pathway forward. The Power of Soul Loving is a spiritual guide to achieving love and freedom in your life. Unless we know how to really feel at home and authentic with ourselves, unless we know how to truly understand who we are at our core and to love who we are without feeling like we've got to constantly change, if we can't do that, then we are unable to live our best and feel our best in our life. This guide here helps us to answer those questions for ourselves, because let's face it, our lives, we're all different, but we do go through very, very similar soul lessons. And, sometimes we just don't quite know how to do that, and to do that well, and to answer those questions. The Power of Soul Loving is a way to get you through those challenging times. And you know what? We're all going to experience it at some point in our life. I've had my second print run of my books, because it's a self-published book, available online in most bookstores, but I've just had a batch of these delivered to my home, and they are ready for anybody who'd like to purchase them directly from me. And a lot of people have been asking me about getting a copy, and also to get a copy for a friend or a family member, and this is a really lovely way to be able to show that you care by sharing the love, getting a book, perhaps for the holiday season. So just an idea, if that's something that you want to do, now is the time to do that before they run out. Okay, I'm going to put that aside now, and we are going to get into the reading. And for those of you who are interested, I often post blogs on my Facebook page, Living with Spice, or you can find me on Rebecca Gabriel 444, also on my website, and on Instagram, Living with Spice. So let's get started. I've pre-shuffled and prayed over the cards, and as always though, I like to do a little bit of a shuffle in front of the camera, and we just ask Spirit to guide us, give us some guidance for the week ahead. What kind of energies can we expect coming up for this week? I'm getting a feeling for a lot of you, even though this is a general card reading, sometimes we do share very similar energies, and I'm getting a feeling a lot of you are coming out of that difficult period, even though it has been quite challenging. A lot of you are starting to see some light at the end of the tunnel. And so he's hoping that this reading will give you a little bit of guidance around that. So these are just going everywhere today. The Spirit, we ask you for some guidance for the week, please. If you would prefer to have a personal reading that's specific to your circumstances, you're very welcome to contact me by text message or an email. Either way, you can have my details in the description box below. And thank you, Spirit, for your guidance. What energies can we expect for the week coming in November? What messages do we need to know? This is really scattered energy. It's quite interesting what's trying to come out here. So have the High Priestess. We have the Hanged Man. So I'm trying to do it without the reflection there, the Hanged Man. We have the King of Swords. We have the Ten of Wands. And we have the Seven of Swords. Okay, so it seems like there's quite a lot of indecision at the moment. So not out of the neck of the woods yet. There's a lot of mind games happening, a lot of mental energy, and a lot of toing and froing in your mind as you're weighing up decisions at the moment. Let's just start with the flavour of the reading has begun with the High Priestess, which is actually a very powerful and intuitive card. The High Priestess represents your ability to tap into your higher self and your wisdom. I'm going to adjust that lighting so to make sure that we don't get that reflection on the card. I'm not sure if I'm going to be terribly successful. So the High Priestess, she's very in tune with her higher self and is able to access the urgings of the soul, our soul, inner wisdom, and even those soul lessons that we've learned from past lifetimes. Now, this is the flavour at the beginning of the reading, saying that we are quite self-empowered and we are going into a very deep, reflective period of life or time in our life where we are really examining the light and the dark, the shadow aspects, our choices, and where our choices are leading us in the future and looking at the bigger picture of our life, the direction and the meaning and the purpose. Yes, so you're having moments of deep reflection and deep thought. So back here on the physical realm, however, it's kind of left you feeling quite tied up. And so this is represented, excuse the nudity, but this is represented by the Hangman. So feeling very tied up and not at all sure which direction, what's up and what's down. Obviously, you're going to get a different perspective. The Hangman does represent a different perspective, but there is a sense of, whilst this body is relaxed, the person still is bound, and so you're feeling quite bound. Maybe unable to speak your inner truth, unable to see things clearly, though you know that it's just a little bit out of your grasp. The answer, the solution, what you're looking for is just slightly out of grasp. It's actually not far away. In the fields behind this person is the harvest ready to be harvested. It's a wheat field ready to be harvested. But this person is bound to the tree, unable to move, unable to speak. There's something in the person's mouth. Their hands are tied, the foot is tied, feeling stuck, even though their eyes are open and they can see, they're unable to move. So it's quite frustrating inner conflict that's going on here for this person. A lot of deep thought. So the King of Swords here is very much in heavy contemplation, thinking about things, thinking about the lay of the land in terms of their own life, your life. So deep reflection about what is the most important move here. So you're feeling quite strategic. You're taking time to mull things over, to look at the pros and the cons of the situation and how you're going to plan your next step forward. So that's actually not a negative thing to do. That's actually quite wise. So in the month of November, especially in the first 2 weeks, whilst you are feeling a little bit tied up that you're unable to make a move, you're using this time to go into deep reflection, to tap into your higher self, what your soul is calling you to do and to know. And, on the physical realm, you're weighing up everything. What's the best move here? What's the best way to go forward? So that's actually not a bad thing to do. So go into the first couple of weeks of November, appreciating that this is a time for reflection rather than taking big steps somewhere. This poor man here, the Seven of Swords, though, he's kind of planning and scheming things a little bit, quite stuck for choice. He realises and he could be male or female, doesn't matter, it's the energy, realises that there's quite a few things to choose from here and feeling a little bit under the weather or overwhelmed with the choice. And so trying to make some plans by writing things down and trying to come at it from a logical perspective, maybe a little bit too in the head, because remembering the beginning of the reading, the High Priestess calls us not to go into our head but go into our soul knowing, going to that deeper part of ourselves where we're listening to our higher self and to our inner core. But this fellow here is stuck in his head. He's quite tormented mentally, and he's weighing up his options, but he's really feeling quite stuck like this person here. However, the king is a little bit more knowledgeable and is a little bit more strategic, so perhaps it's the better way to tackle the situation is to weigh up the pros and cons, and maybe just journal and write them down. And that may help relieve this sense of overwhelm and confusion by creating a plan or even just weighing up the pros and the cons. A little bit like when you prepare for your resume, you want to make sure that you put your best foot forward, you weigh up which are the best choices in terms of job offers or interviews. I'm just using that as an analogy, it doesn't have to be that, but yes, certainly looking at what are the best options and what are not. But all of this, deep thinking and mental energy has got you feeling a little burdened. So, we have the Ten of Wands here. So you're feeling quite burdened by all of this thinking, weighing up options, and it's not a great energy to be in. However, this is where you're at, so let's use this time wisely. Rather than, when you recognise you're going very much into your headspace, know that you are, and use the time in small chunks to plan your thinking, be constructive and be productive. And when you realise you're going into this very overwhelmed energy, then perhaps that's time to put the pen down, switch off the brain, go and do something that's more physical or more enjoyable, and take a little bit more of a light-hearted approach, because clearly right now you're not taking action, you're just planning your next moves. So, when we understand the energy that we're stepping into, then there's a way that we can do it that's going to help us rather than hinder us. All right, let's take a look to see what's coming in the Angel Oracle card deck. No, Angel Tarot deck. So I ask you, Spirit, to give us some guidance. I've got the card that's flipped out there. What do we need to know, and how can we best respond to the energies for this week coming up? Thank you for your guidance. We really do have a lot of cards wanting to come out today. It's like the cards are really wanting to speak quite loudly. So I feel like it's just, we'll do our best to, well, okay, let's just leave it at that for the minute. So again, we have the Ten of Air, so a little bit like this Ten of Wands, which is coming to the end of what's felt like a burden, by the way. So 10 is a completion, and we know that when we're completing a phase or a cycle in our life, we're about to start something new. So what has felt like a burden for quite some time is coming to an end, and we've got this reaffirmed with the Ten of Air. Again, it's that mental energy, and this card represents the end of a difficult situation. So what has been tormenting you for a long time, it could be weeks, months, or maybe even years, you're actually coming to the close of a cycle. So if you can embrace this period of time more positively and recognize it's a time of transition and change, things will flow a little bit more easily for you. Things are actually going to improve. So the 10, again, completion and new beginnings. So, and you're going to recognize as well a lot of your bad habits that you've had in the past, things that have kept you stuck, whether it's been the way you've been looking at life, your choices, your beliefs about certain things, you're recognizing that this is a pattern that hasn't served you well. And so that can be quite addictive behavior. So you're coming to the end of that because your awareness has been heightened. And you know, the High Priestess tells us that we are tapping into our higher knowledge, our higher self. So you're having some aha moments as you're going through this deep reflection, which is a really good thing, and about time as well, because you have been mentally suffering for quite a long time. But it's coming to an end, and that's really good to know. So beautiful. We've got new opportunities coming. We have the Ace of Fire here, the World card, fabulous. We have the King of Water and the Page of Water. So, and we have the Two of Earth. All right, so with the Ace of Fire, we have an exciting new opportunity coming your way, and this is pointing towards a career opportunity, a change in your life. So this is very exciting energy, passionate energy, something that's going to come in rather quickly for you, so be aware. And this is coming after this period of reflection and strategizing for you. So, yes, I'm sorry about the interruption. So we're just sort of getting back into this really beautiful energy of something that's a beautiful, exciting new opportunities coming your way. So we're finishing off an old cycle in our life and going into something that's quite new. Now, this could come as a career opportunity. If you run your own business, there may be a really great deal opportunity here for you. It could be a promotion in your job, or some other change that's happening that links you into your passion, to your purpose. And it is very exciting because you're feeling this new sense of invigorated energy and new life for yourself. You're done with this old energy. This cycle of carrying this terrible burden and things not progressing is actually coming to a close for you. So that's wonderful. And we've got confirmation of that with the World card. So the World card tells us that things are progressing and moving in a very positive direction. The card says a job well done. There's a sense of joy and contentment and a real feeling of gratitude for the way things are turning out and for your life. You're kind of sitting back in a calmer, more relieved energy, feeling in tune with who you are and your purpose in life. And you're starting to have a lot of greater awareness about who you are as a person, your value and what you're here to do and what you're here to achieve. So again, this energy that was set at the beginning of tapping into our higher intuition, our higher self. So this is really beautiful. It's a fantastic progression and definitely part of a new cycle and a new beginning in your life. Now, interestingly, we have the Page of Water and the King of Water. So again, this is coming, you're entering an energy in your life of really developing very important relationships. Now, for some of you, it could be to do with the relationships that help you to serve your purpose in this world. So that could be who you're networking with, who you're connecting with, and you're feeling very much in tune with those people in your life. You're connecting with your tribe. For others of you, this is about a new person who's entering your life, so a new love relationship, and this is marking the beginning of a new cycle in your life in terms of a new relationship, and you're feeling very intuitive and aware and vibing with this person. There's a beautiful synchronicity and harmony with this new person, and it's taken you a little bit by surprise. It's like you have a meeting and suddenly you recognize that you're thinking on the same level, that you've got the same funny quirks, and you second guess each other before the other person has said something. You're sort of just in tune and you're feeling this beautiful, friendly, synchronistic energy, and you're both sort of aware and sensitive to each other's needs and what you're thinking and feeling. And it's progressing. It's showing us that this relationship is progressing because we have the King of Water now. So in the King of Water, we're going deeper now into our emotions, and we're being asked to really open our heart and our mind to those people who are in our life and in our sphere. So this lovely connected energy of tapping into your emotions, into your higher self, your spirituality, is helping you to move from this sort of young fascination of connecting with this other person to expanding that to connecting with your greater purpose, which has a greater influence for more people, and seeing how you fit into the bigger picture of things and what you're here to do, what your purpose is. So the King of Water is being able to see a larger landscape where your influence will have a greater impact on people. So perhaps this new career opportunity is helping you to live your purpose and to dive deeper into what you're most passionate about. And this is opening up new relationships in your life, both business and personal, and helping you to see how you're having an impact and influence in your world. You're here, you're recognizing what your purpose is. You're having that deeper awareness of what your purpose is. And so the world is telling us, the world card is telling us, this is how things are now unfolding for you. It's a beautiful new cycle in your life. You know, this previous contemplation and kind of mental torture is all done, and you're just stepping into this really beautiful new stage of your life. And then we've got the Two of Earth, which is also known as the Two of Pentacles. So this is a little bit about, there's a lot of stuff going on. Once you're stepping into this and momentum is starting to happen, you're recognizing that you've got some decisions to make. Part of this change is causing you or putting you in a situation where you need to decide what stays and what goes, and how to move forward. Who do you want in your life? Who's going to be a part of your tribe as you go forward, and who isn't? And so, yeah, I guess you're still having a little bit of that reflective energy of the King of Swords, where you're giving some deep contemplative reflection, weighing up the pros and cons, tapping into your higher self in order to make those good decisions, staying away from, the overwhelming mental energy, but recognizing that for you to move forward and do this wonderful work that you're about to do, there are decisions that need to be made. But this is not a heavy energy. This is an uplifted, exciting and creative energy. It's like, how can I do this in the best possible way? How can I take a really creative and playful approach to this new stage of my life? Because this is how you're feeling. You're feeling very energetic and creative and inspired, and this is wonderful. You're washing your hands of the old energy, which is fabulous, and now you're going, what's next? Who's going to be with me on this journey? How can I network with people to bring people in to be a part of this, and vice versa? Always a two-way flow here. So it's very much strong networking, people energy. Relationships are important to you, both personal relationships to support the journey as well as professional relationships to support your journey. What stays, what goes. So it is a time for important decisions, not impulsive decisions. The King of Swords is not impulsive. But yes, deep reflection and but yeah, there is a lightheartedness now. That heavy energy has gone. So let's just now pull a few cards here from this deck. Yes, I'm always forgetting what the name of this is, the Enchanted Map, to see what direction and what pathways are going to be opening up for us by the time we get to mid-November. We thank you, Spirit. Please show us the way. What pathways are opening up to us as we come into mid-November? What do we need to know? What do we need to be aware of for the journey ahead? Oh, I've got, okay. A few more cards, please. And we will get there with a beautiful marker as to what to focus on in terms of the journey ahead in mid-November. So just remembering at the beginning of the month, we're still coming out of that, deep thinking and reflection and contemplating what our next move is. But we want to be sure that we stay in the positive. Okay, we just need a couple more cards here. Okay, here we go. So, okay. All right, so remembering where we have come from, sometimes as we're going through this transitional phase, it can feel difficult to see the pathway ahead. So we're not always going to be able to see the end result or see how far we have to go and what's at the other end. So we've got something called the dry desert here. So sometimes with all of our efforts, it can feel a little frustrating that we're not getting anything in return. But in this picture here, we do have this female with her sights set, even though the land around her is quite barren and it's feeling like no change is happening. Progress is being made step by step. We've got the footprints here in the sand, and she's spotted the cacti in the far distance. So she has an idea of where she's going, which is fantastic. And there is promise of the way forward. So there's no obstacles in her way. It's just a matter of taking the steps that are necessary and not to give up. So that even if you feel like you're not seeing any progress immediately, you are definitely going through this, leaving the old cycle and going into this new cycle. So trust and have faith and keep your eye on the target of where you want to go. That's really important, to stay true to that, stay focused on that. There are no obstacles in your way, but it's very clear where you're headed, where the cacti are. So just remember that. Don't lose heart if you're not seeing a lot of things pop up for you. Now, along the way, we might have some unexpected surprises or visitors, which will be people who are turning up at the right time, right when we're needing that extra bit of information or support. When it's unexpected, don't immediately say no to it, because in this picture here, we have a rabbit, and this represents fruitfulness and opportunities that could potentially multiply. But in order for that to happen, you have to open the door and you have to step in or step out, whatever the case is. You actually have to answer the call. You stay behind the closed door, nothing happens. You've got to take a little bit of a risk here. You've got to have a little bit of trust and faith to open that door, and then things are going to multiply for you. So even if something feels a little bit strange or unfamiliar, you know what? Trust your intuition and go with it. If it feels like that it potentially has, that it fits with your purpose or ticks some boxes, just open that door and go for it. Don't think about it too heavily, okay? Answer the call and go with it, and you'll be surprised. Things will turn out for the better. Now again, Spirit is encouraging us to recognize that even though you've come from a place that felt like rock bottom, and often when we're at rock bottom, as this card shows us here, it is so hard to see our way out of our situation. And for some of you are feeling the weight of that heavy burden of being at rock bottom. But as I said before, The energy of the 10, that's the 10 of Wands, and this is a 10 as well, tells us that that cycle has finished. You're not at rock bottom anymore. You are moving out of that phase. So there will no longer be any confusion. Before, you didn't know which way to turn, what to do. You had, you felt lost. You didn't have any sense of insight or foresight as to where you were going or how you were going to problem solve your way out of where you have been. And it feels like you've been there for a while and it hasn't been a great place to be. But 10, the number 10 tells us that that is coming to a close. So right now it's really important to set your intentions and to really focus on what it is that you want to produce going forward. What do you want to produce in your life? What means the most to you? Because whatever you do now, in terms of planting your seeds and fine-tuning your focus is what you're going to produce. So this is represented by the egg here and the owl. The owl is about clear seeing, setting a vision, setting our intentions, and the owl is holding one of those weed things that you blow and you wish. Oh my gosh, I've forgotten what they're called. But it's like making a wish and really believing in that, like really get very clear about what it is that you're wanting and what's important to you, because that's what you're going to be feeding and fueling, and that's what you're going to produce. So while you're in this reflective phase, spend some time thinking about what it is that you actually wanted to produce so you can be clear about it. And then when you have a minute, write it down so you remove that overwhelm and you get things to be simple and clear. And when it's simple and clear, you'll know exactly what it is that you want to produce, which is what is represented by this egg. And then the final card that I pulled out of this deck is number 4, Spirit of Place. Very interesting. So you come into a place of stability and grounded knowing in yourself, and it's taken a while for you to get here. You have experienced many seasons of change in your life, and those changes have taught you a lot about yourself. Most importantly, what you know to be true to you. And this has come from a place of having done a lot of work, having experienced, as I said, a lot of seasons. And sometimes that's very challenging. But you are now transforming into someone who has a greater knowing and wisdom for yourself. And this is really about you, not about other people. And it's important for the work that you're going to be doing, or the change in your life, the new cycle that you're moving into. It's important that I'm trying to find the words. Get my head together here. That you're tapping into your soul purpose and what resonates for you, what gives you meaning, not what you think you should be doing or what other people tell you should do. This is coming from a really deep centered place of what feels right for you, because of what you know about yourself, because of what you've experienced in life. This has transformed you to who you are today, and you no longer need to doubt yourself in any way. You actually know yourself better than you're giving yourself credit for. And this will flavor your energy, your sense of peace, your inner knowing, and it'll give you clarity for the way forward where you're no longer questioning who you are, which is really fantastic. This is it's like a new empowered time in your life where you're really owning who you are and really embracing this beautiful change. it's fiery, it's passionate, you're going to be producing, you're going to be making changes, you're going to be influencing a lot of people in a very positive way. Influencing, what I mean by that, transforming, educating, informing, placing your mark on the world. But in order for that to happen, you have to answer the call. You have to open the door in order for the opportunities to manifest in your life. And you have to be clear about your intentions for this to happen. We can't sit back. We've got to be a part of this beautiful energy and a part of this process. And we've got to energize it. And it will require us to make some decisions. But they're decisions that are going to empower you. And make sure they come from a place that feels authentic to you. Loving the energy of this. I decided to open up the deck of the Romance Angels card because this deck can tell us a lot about the love energy in our life. So that helps us to understand the relationships of the people in our life, the relationship that we have with ourselves, and our sense of our self-acceptance and self-love as well. So let's see what Spirit can tell us about the relationships, our emotional side of who we are and how we are relating to other people as well as to ourselves. We thank you, angels. We thank you, Spirit guides, for your guidance around relationships, self-love, self-acceptance, and those other important people in our life. What can we expect in terms of relationships in our life coming up in November? And it could, of course, be the people that are journeying with you at this time. Okay, so we've got a card that says pay attention to the red flags. So as you're transitioning through this, ending one cycle and moving into another, we're always going to be experiencing an element of discomfort with the change that's around us. So I'm sort of thinking, my sense is with this one, pay attention to the red flags. Let's take a look at yourself to start with. The red flags may be how you typically respond to change. Do you respond well? Do you self-sabotage? Do you go into negative patterns that don't serve you well? Do you have some poor habits? So the red flags are reminding us that sometimes we can get a little overexcited or we can get a little bit fearful, and that can cause us to close the door on opportunities. Okay, so the red flag is asking us to pay attention to the things that may cause us to miss the opportunities or to self-sabotage or to slip into poor thinking. If we're in the habit of overthinking and going to overwhelm and being stuck in our head, that's a red flag, because it's going to stop you from progressing and achieving and getting into that beautiful creative zone. That's a red flag. When we're assessing the people and the environment that we are in terms of, is it aligned with our purpose going forward? Who are the people that we want in our life that we resonate with, that are potentially our tribe, they're going to assist us with our journey? So we know from the Page of Water and the King of Water that relationships are quite important at the moment. We've got a new person entering your life in terms of a relationship, which is beautiful. As this person enters your life, just remembering the page is quite a young energy. So the red flag here could be, are you listening to all the cues? Does this person resonate with you? Have you thought things through? So just be aware. Heightened awareness is what's important. And trusting. So a red flag could be Do you typically not trust yourself, or do you typically not trust the universe or other people? And that leads to self-sabotage. So in order to move forward positively and productively, we need to trust ourselves, we need to know ourselves well, and we need to be a little brave as well, and to not slip into that mental energy in our habits that have sabotaged us in the past. We need to open our heart. We need to be ready to be supported by others and be listening to the advice and the alternative perspectives that come up. Being aware of the greater picture and not just getting stuck in our minds. Recognizing how what we do impacts other people on a greater scale. The red flags are anything that potentially can prevent us from progressing towards our personal purpose in life. So using our intuition, the high priestess, and being honest with ourselves, we can avoid the pitfalls, which is great. So we're just being asked to be mindful, be aware, so that we can avoid the pitfalls and being prevented from progressing. Now, let's get into some good energy here. In terms of personal relationships, for those of you who are entering a new version of a relationship or a brand new relationship, the energy is beautiful. The energy is synergized, harmonious, exciting, new. There's a freshness about this new energy, and it could be revitalized relationships or new relationships. And so the card, the honeymoon card, represents the energy of enjoying time together, time out together, hanging with each other, enjoying those blissful moments. So where a relationship is revitalized by taking time out of the day-to-day routine and enjoying the energy of being with each other and enjoying that. So there's always a time and place for that. And when it comes to relationships, we must nurture the relationships and nurture ourselves in order to get the best out of it. So that is definitely an aspect of the reading, of the general reading. It says here, enjoy the bliss of holiday time together. And when we do that, we revitalize our own energy. That gets us back on the path to feeling inspired and on purpose and creative. So part of I skipped ahead a little bit here. We've got a card called Very Soon here. So if there has been a relationship on the side that's needing to be revitalized, or you've been waiting for a new relationship to come in, a romantic relationship, the romance angels and spirit guides are saying, decide on what it is that you want. And be clear about what's important to you, because that's what you're going to manifest and bring in. If you're not clear about it, we get the red flags card, and that's to say that you'll manifest something that's not going to be right for you. But, of course, this is the option. This is why we have the reading, is that we're being guided to look at more closely at what it is that we want, because this beautiful energy of a loving and romantic relationship is coming very soon. It's like we're on the precipice here of something really beautiful. And the engagement card represents a step up in terms of commitment and energy. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get engaged. It just means there's a step up in terms of your commitment to this special person and your focus and attention. So the bottom of the card here reads, your love life is ascending to a higher level of commitment, which is beautiful. So you've got a lot of beautiful things unfolding and coming forth here. So we started out from an energy where, we've been pretty tied up and very much in deep thought, but we're coming out of that and we're being asked to tap into our higher self and our intuition, to think clearly, to think logically, just strategize for a little while in the first week or so of November, and just let go all of those burdens that have been, because the time has come for those difficult times to finish and new opportunities for your career, your growth, your purpose, your passion is entering your life right now. And the world represents not just progress, but you've actually hit a milestone. You've actually hit a milestone, and you may not feel like you have because you've been so overwhelmed with this heavy mental energy. But Spirit is saying you have actually ticked some big boxes, and you've mastered some very important soul lessons for yourself. You've had incredible growth. It is time for you to actually acknowledge that for yourself, and to realize that you've come a long way. So part of this energy is, wow, look how far I've come, and this is where I am today. So take a moment to enjoy that. So as you're stepping into this new cycle, don't be bashful. Open the doors, take the opportunity, take the chance. Think about what it is that you really want. Get some clear vision in your mind, in your heart, as to what you want to manifest. Career opportunity, purpose in life, relationships that are obviously coming into your life as well, getting clear about what it is that you want, because you are manifesting this. And don't worry, it's coming. Even though it feels like it's not, you're making progress here, you've got your sights set, it's coming for you. You're entering a period of time of deeper knowing about yourself, and this is beautiful. So my friends, I'm going to leave it at that for now. It's quite a lot that's happening at the beginning of November. Wow. So I'm wishing you well. Treat yourself kindly. You're going to have the beginning here of just having that transition over of needing to think about things and at a deeper level, and what it is that you want to take forward with you and how you want things to play out and unfold. It's not about having the answers, but it is about getting some clarity and spending some time connecting in to your higher self, trusting in yourself and knowing what you know. You've been through many seasons in your life. You have developed a lot of wisdom, knowledge. You've got the goods. Now's the time to enjoy it. You're stepping up into a beautiful new energy of creation and of love and of progress in your career. It is all coming together. When you make decisions, be aware of the red flags. Make sure it's aligned with your purpose and with who you are, and does it resonate with you, and you'll be on your way. Have a beautiful week, and I look forward to seeing you mid-month. Bye for now.